My everydayers out there know I have been bullish on Penn State all offseason. I have plenty of reason to feel that way. They have a high returning production metric. They've got a bunch of people coming back from last year. They've got an incredibly talented team. They made the best coordinator hire and had the best coordinator retention move of anybody in college football this year. They've got a future first-round pick in the NFL drafted quarterback. There's a lot. There's a lot going for Penn State. And you know what? I have consistently bought in to the hype, to the attention, to the expectation and pressure that should be on Penn State this year. And I'm declaring it right here, right now, from Big Ten Media Days. I'm picking Penn State to go 12-0. I think they're going to beat Oregon at home. I think they're going to beat Ohio State on the road in Columbus. I might be that. I'm going to be that guy. You know what? Maybe it's just for fun, but this is legitimately what I think makes sense from a football standpoint. I take continuity over fresh and new every day. Penn State has that advantage over Oregon and Ohio State. They also have a huge scheduling advantage over the Ducks in that game because Oregon's playing their 5th straight to start the year. It's their first real road game. Their only other road contest will have been at Northwestern. That'll be a big test for Dante Moore at quarterback. Penn State is at home, off a bye. Whiteout game, which I think is better for Oregon to play in, frankly, than a big noon kickoff so early in the day. That would be 9 a.m. Pacific, but still, Penn State's got a lot going for it in that game. And you know what? I'm that sucker. If you want to think of somebody to refer to when you have water cooler or barstool conversations with your buddies or strangers, whoever you're talking to about college football and whatnot, about who's actually taking Penn State to do these things. I'm not predicting their postseason run just yet. Regular season record. Penn State last year was 11-1, and they were one drive away, potentially, from beating Ohio State. Well, guess what? Now it's Penn State with the more experienced roster. Now it's Penn State with the pressure to go out and win. Now it's Penn State with Jim Knowles as the defensive coordinator. All of that is there. I think the stars are going to align. You've got Brian Hartline, who Jim Knowles, of course, knows from his time on Ohio State staff for the last several seasons, being an offensive coordinator for the first time. Matt Patricia is the defensive coordinator. I've got questions. He could be good. He could be terrible. Like, Matt Patricia could be there for 3 years and parlay it into a coordinator job in the NFL, or he could be fired after this year. I think those are just as likely to happen for Ohio State's new defensive coordinator this year. So I think Penn State is worthy and deserving because of the offseason that they have had, the upgrading at wide receiver, of having this sort of expectation. They're number 1 in my preseason Big Ten power rankings. I am picking them to go 12-0 and make the Big Ten championship game. I'm that guy. I'm going to be that guy. Maybe at the end of the year, I'm going to go, I was so stupid to bet on James Franklin to finally break through. I think this is going to be the year. What does that take? Why don't we hear from the man himself earlier at Big Ten Media Days?
Coach, Oregon and Ohio State on the schedule this year, one at home, one on the road. I know coaches say all the time the most important game is the next one, but with the way you guys have performed in top 10 matchups over the last several years, is there something you feel like needs to click in those games to get a win that you feel like hasn't all the time?
No, we got to play well against really, really good teams. That's what it comes down to, and there's going to be moments where we're going to have to step up and make great plays. There's moments we're going to have to make great calls. We're going to have to, handle at one of those. We're going to have to handle being on the road and dealing with the attendance in the crowd, and that will be a factor in it as well. We've been one of the most consistent programs in college football over the last 9 years, and specifically over the last 3 years. There's another step to take for us, and we recognize that and embrace it. And the good thing and the exciting thing is we're going to have opportunities to do that this year.
What was your conversation with Drew Aller like to get him to come back for another year of college football?
Yeah, to be honest with you, we went through kind of all the information with Drew and his people, the information that we got, the information that he had. All of it was pretty much saying that he was going to be a first-round draft choice, but he's got an opportunity to be a top 10 pick, if not higher than that. And unfinished business as a team. And I think a lot of our guys that decided to come back, they felt like we had unfinished business as a team and could do some pretty unique things. and also help themselves. So it's kind of a win-win situation for everybody. And whenever you can do that, whether it's in football or any other walk of life, I think that's what everybody wants, right? A win-win situation, a win for Penn State, win for Penn State football, the Big Ten, and Drew and his family too.
When people bring up, the expectations for Penn State this year, and you mentioned on the stage about the outside expectations kind of being what the locally it's always been, but they always say, but James Franklin is 1-15 against the top 5. Like, what do you feel? What do you think of that when you hear people say that?
Yeah, again, kind of like what I just answered, is you get excited about the opportunity. Can't control the past. Excited about the future. I also respect and appreciate that we're one of those programs that they're having that conversation about. But yeah, we're excited about what we're going to be able to do this year and the steps that we're going to be able to take. We've had a program that 99% of the programs in the country would die to have and love to have. But there's obviously room for growth. Yeah, again, it doesn't feel a whole lot different for me. It doesn't feel a whole lot different for us. I think there's obviously more conversation going on nationally. But the expectations in our Lash football building are always really high. The expectations on our campus, in our community, with our lettermen, with our fans, with our alumni are really high. I think last year's a perfect example of that. We finished essentially a drive away from the national championship game, and people were pissed. Didn't necessarily feel like, the type of season that we had. And that comes with being the head football coach at Penn State or being the quarterback at Penn State. You knew that when you took the job. I also recognize that there's been a ton of work that's gone into that, and the program was nowhere near that when we took it over. And to me, there's got to be balance with both of those conversations. There's a lot of coaches that I know that get talked about, and when they took over the job, they were ranked number 2 in the country when they took the job. They were ranked number 5 in the country when they took the job. They were ranked number 10 in the country when they took the job. We weren't ranked in the top 25, and as you guys know, there was a lot of things that we had to overcome. So to think that we're back in this position and there's these types of conversations going on, and we've been one of the most consistent programs in the country over the last 9 years. I'm extremely proud and I'm extremely confident. But again, there is complete recognition and embracing what we got to do and where we got to go. And the best part about it, your question and your question and your question, is we're in total control of it, right? If we want the narrative to change, we got an opportunity to change it. We want people to shut up. We can shut them up real easy. So we embrace it all, and again, but there's also balance with me and perspective, because people don't always talk with perspective.
There you have it in his own words. And you know what? The number of times he said again in that media scrum makes me think, starting to wear on him a little. Coaches can pretend and say they don't hear this stuff. They do. They do. Not just because we literally ask them these sorts of questions. I think there are other ways that they hear it. But you know what? I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. So I'm placing all the hype, pomp, circumstance, expectations on James Franklin this year, and I'm going to take Penn State to go 12-0. Have at it in the comments section. You do whatever you like. If I'm wrong, then guess what? I'm going to have to be right back here on the show explaining how I picked James Franklin and Penn State to win not one but 2 top 10 games in the same season. This is the year to do it. I don't know that they'll have a better chance.